Our top story this hour, marking top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani's first death anniversary, demonstrations are now taking place in many parts of Iran, condemning the US killing. As a part of a week-long series of events, thousands of mourners marked the anniversary of the death of Abu Mahdi al-Mohandes and General Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad. Both Soleimani and the head of Iran's Quds forces and al-Mohandes, deputy commander of Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces, were killed in the US airstrike near Baghdad's international airport last year. The site where Soleimani and Iraqi militia leader Abu Mahdi al-Mohandes were gunned down has now been converted into a memorial. This as the protesters marched in the capital mourning their deaths. Mourners will be holding a protest today, now demanding the expulsion of all foreign forces from the country. This will be a part of a series of events which will be held throughout the first week of January. A separate event is expected to be held in the coming days in Soleimani's hometown where he is buried. Iran and Iranians paid tribute at the grave of senior military commander Soleimani. Members of Lebanese Shiite Hezbollah movement took part in the commemoration. Soleimani, a 62-year-old general, was Tehran's most prominent military commander and the architect of Iran's spreading influence in the Middle East. And his replacement, Brigadier General Ismail Ghani, has vowed vengeance.
من با صراحت میگم مسیر نیروی قدس و مسیر مقاومت با شیطنت‌هایی که امریکا میکند تغییر نمیکند.
انتقام اصلی هنوز مونده، حالا موقعی که انجام میدن که به هر حال مفید باشه، بهتر خودشون میدونن. ما منتظر انتقام اصلی حتما هستیم و اینکه ببینیم واکنش دشمنانمون آمریکا و اسرائیل چی میتونه باشه اون موقع.
The death of Soleimani, leader of the Revolutionary General Quds Force, caused a spike in tensions between Iran and the United States. Iran retaliated with a missile strike against a U.S. military base in Iraq a few days later. Hours later, Iranian forces on high alert mistakenly shot down a Ukrainian passenger airliner taking off from Tehran. Washington blamed Soleimani for masterminding attacks by Iran-aligned militias on U.S. forces in the region. We are now being joined by Syed Mustafa Koshtashem live from Tehran. Thank you so much for joining us. He is a political analyst. He also serves as the director-in-chief of Iran's Far News Agency. Thank you so much for joining us here. Demonstrations have erupted condemning the U.S. killing of General Qasem Soleimani. How do you assess the situation on ground right now?
Hello, and thanks for having me. Well, you know, Iranians are still very angry at the United States for this declaration of war. This is somehow not only a terrorist attack, but also a declaration of war on Iran. Iran would not let it go ignored. It would not, let it go unanswered. But Tehran is looking for the proper time and the proper way. There is no reason to believe that Tehran has not done anything. Actually, it started with the Iranian missiles raining down on Ain al-Assad first last year, less than a week after the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, to show that Iran is very much resolved to provide the answer. So, what's happening in the region right now? It's not Tehran's plan, I believe. Tehran is not going to attack anyone right now. What the U.S. is doing is just escalating the tensions because they fear that because they don't know the time, the manner, the place that Iran is going to provide this answer, they are very much worried. Therefore, they are doing deterrence. They've been doing the deterrence all throughout the last year. They've been trying to escalate the tensions to control the situation and the escalation of tensions in order to deter an Iranian response. But the response, I believe, will come in the next few weeks or months.
All right, that's actually what I was just coming to next. How do you see this panning out in the days to come? Because Soleimani's replacement, General Ismail Ghani, as we just mentioned earlier, has also vowed vengeance.
Well, first of all, let's remember that Tehran doesn't want to, give an answer to Iraq, to the United States in Iraq, because Iraq is a friendly state, it's a friendly nation, And all the world militaries know that they do not want war at home or among a friendly nation, because it would have collateral damage on the friendly nation, and it would turn them against you. Some of them would be alienated and would be blaming you for breaking out war in their on their land. So Tehran doesn't mean to strike at the U.S. in there. What Tehran wants is an answer that would inflict maximum damage on the United States, most probably on the U.S., in the United States, or on friendly lands of the United States in different ways. It could be through Iranian allies. It could come through cyber attack, or it could come in any other possible way, direct attacks. I don't know. But what matters now is that Tehran doesn't mean to attack the United States. The U.S. doesn't mean to attack Iran. They say that they are doing the deterrence. So if there is no miscalculation on the ground, so the chances for breaking out a war or military conflict shouldn't be high, although there is always a chance of miscalculation.
All right, and when it comes to demonstrators demanding the expulsion of foreign forces, what can we expect on that front now?
Well, definitely the United States has grown weak in this region. They exercised two plans. First, they invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, and they failed because of Qasem Soleimani and the model that he set for the popular forces. He mobilized forces all throughout the region, and the U.S. withdrew from this region after spending $8,000 billion in terms and words of Donald Trump. A second time was, according to U.S. official acknowledgments and confessions, they and their allies started militant forces and proxy warfare in the region from 2011 to 2017, and they failed again because of Qasem Soleimani. This time, they assassinated him, and they also have been doing some kind of soft plans in Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria in order to turn the situation, in order to impose their own new order in this region. This order includes a stronger role for Israel, because the United States doesn't have the capability and time, since they need to go to Far East Asia to stand against China. They do not have time, energy, and money and resources to spend more time in the Middle East in order to impose their order. So they mean to reduce their numbers, although they are not going to leave the region. But what Iran wants is that the United States should be expelled from the region, and Iran is working on that. In Iraq, people who do not want war, their parliament has voted to expel the United States from this region, and it will happen in less than a year from now, maximum. What Iran wants is that it wants to mend relations with the Arab states on the southern parts of the Persian Gulf, but they do not want it because they are part of the United States' strategy in this region, and they are in alliance with Iran's number one foe, Israel. So I believe the media image that they are trying to show to this nation and to Iran and to the regional nations, I mean, the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia, they are trying to escalate the tensions through their media image. They are using psychological warfare. Otherwise, this, of course, is dangerous, because this could break into war as a result of a miscalculation.
Right.
But normally speaking, I do not think that they would succeed this time, because Ghani was giving this message straight last day that Tehran is resolved to continue Qasem Soleimani's path, and Quds Force is still there intact.
All right. All right, sir. Thank you so much for joining us with all those details.